So before we get into this video, can you tell me if the market is currently bullish or bearish? And that's a very important point, because understanding the overall market direction, where the market is currently going, is one of the biggest and most important confluences that you can add to your trade setup. You need to understand that when it comes to trading, it's all about collecting confluences in order to have a high probability trade. And a lot of you guys, especially the beginner traders, but also the advanced or intermediate traders, sometimes get confused because on social media people be sharing posts of their trades, of their trends, of the market, of their confluences, and nobody really knows, is this market right now bullish or is it bearish? Should I focus on going long or should I focus on going short? Because I guarantee you, after watching this video, you will have a much better understanding in which direction the market is going. So if you want to understand whether the market is currently bullish or bearish, it's very important to carefully watch this video until the end. And in order to remove these doubts and to really give you a clarification of the overall direction, let's get into this video.
Alright guys, let's start very simple with the market structure. So generally we have a bearish structure, and on the other hand we do have a bullish structure. So, but what does it look like? It's easy guys. So in a bearish trend, we have our high, we have our low, we have our lower high, we have our lower low, then again our lower high, and our lower low. So in this case, this point here is our low. Then we have our high here within this trend. And afterwards we have our lower low, because this low here is lower than the previous one. Makes sense, right? So it's not that hard. It's very easy. It's really no witchcraft. So then we have our lower high. That's basically a bearish trend. On the other hand, we have our bullish structure, which is basically the opposite. We are starting with our low, creating our high. We have our low, followed by our higher high, guys. Makes sense, right? Because this new high is higher than the previous one. It's not that hard, guys. It's no witchcraft. So let me get this one. So we have our high in a bullish uptrend. That's our high. Obviously followed by our new low. Afterwards, forming our higher high. Makes sense, guys, right? Because this high here is higher than the high before. Then followed by our higher low, because this new low here indeed is higher than the first low that we got here. Makes sense, guys, right? But of course, guys, we know that the market conditions and the direction changes, so it doesn't stay like this forever. Let's say we're in a bullish trend, so we have our high, we have our low, our higher high, our higher low, our higher high, and then suddenly the market decides to jump and break through the last low here. So basically, guys, what we have here is our low. So this is our higher low, and here we have our previous low. We have our high, and we have our new higher high, which then followed also by our higher high, because we can see this high here is higher than the one before. Makes sense, right? But now at one point in the market we see that price broke through the last higher low. In this case here we have a break of structure. That means that this is no longer a valid uptrend, but we are looking to see if we can have a short entry. So let's stay at this point again before the move. So what are we expecting to happen once this last low here gets disrespected? We expect price to now continue as a bearish trend. That means that now price might create a lower high, followed by a lower low, and so on. You know, a new lower high, followed by a lower low. And this is the ideal point in order to enter for a short entry. As soon as you see that this low here got disrespected and broken through, we have a break of structure. Also, we use the short form, it's a BOS. So this higher low here got broken, and now this low here, the newly formed low, becomes our new, guess it guys, exactly our new lower low, followed then by our lower high, before actually creating our new lower low, which then retraces and we have a new lower high. So once we see that we now changed from a bearish to a bullish trend, let me get this one again. So we have our low, our lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we break through. What we then would like to see is a retracement. Previous lower high was the last lower high before we actually broke structure. Well, price broke structure, we just follow. We now have a new higher high. Remember guys, this was the previous lower low. And now we do have a new higher low, followed then by a higher high and a higher low. So guys, we are currently on Euro USD. Is the market structure here currently bullish or bearish? What do we have here? Let's get through this. So we have our high and we have our low. We have our lower high followed by our lower low, lower high again. Then we see we have a lower low followed by our lower high. We can see that our market structure is currently bearish. So why is that? Because guys, again, lower low. Let me just use the short version. I don't want to write it down. So then we again have our lower low followed by our lower high. Again, we have our lower low here before price created our last lower high. So we are currently on a bearish trend. So sticking to Euro USD, we also have another example right here. Are we currently in a bullish or in a bearish trend? We have our low, we have our high, we have our higher low, we have our higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low again, higher high. We have a bullish uptrend. So if we drag it out a little bit, we can clearly see we have our higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. That means we're in an uptrend.
So guys, let me tell you one more thing about market structure and when it comes to reading the charts. Understanding the direction of the market is really not that hard. It's just about the last highs and lows in the market. Whether you see higher highs, higher lows, or lower lows, lower highs. And then you will have a clear picture whether the market is bullish or bearish. Guys, that being said, really don't overcomplicate it reading market structure. And I really hope you guys now have a better understanding whether to decide if it's better to short or to look for long entries today. If you want to see more trading content and more education, don't forget to subscribe and be prepared for more.